We'll start from the beginning, and someone probably didn't consume all the information. They watched half the video. They give me this answer, it's just not for me. I'm not interested. It's just not for me. My response is, I completely and totally understand that response, because that's exactly what I said. Basically, I was with the same brokerage for 3 decades. I actually don't move. 3 decades. I'm at the same brokerage. I don't move. But someone tried to tell me or get me to consume the information I tried to get you to consume, and I didn't consume it either. And I dismissed it as not interested for 3 years. I dismissed it for 3 years. So if you consume the information that I've tried to send you anytime in the next 3 years and you get it, you're going to get it faster than me. But it wasn't until 3 years later that I actually consumed the information. And when I consumed the information, I moved. I hadn't moved in 30 years. People had tried to recruit me for 30 years. I moved as soon as I consumed the information. And I realize now that not consuming the information was the biggest financial mistake of my entire career. And the reason I didn't consume the information is because I had been the #1 top producer in my company for a decade straight. There's almost 2,000 people in my company. Nobody could outsell me for a decade, not even once for a decade.
How many houses a year did you sell?
150, 200. And then, so someone tried to tell me, I was actually proud, I gave the person 10 or 15 minutes. That's all I gave them. And they tried to summarize the benefits and everything, and I just went, this is for me. I know exactly what I was doing. And I didn't listen. So the reason I didn't listen, the reason I was closed-minded is because my own arrogance was keeping me. I was thinking, who's going to tell me something about real estate? Nobody in this whole company, thousands of agents, can't outsell me. So who am I going to listen to, right? And that kind of closed-mindedness, I was closed-minded to consuming other information. So my own success was blocking me. And so every morning, the first thing I do is kick myself in the ass when I wake up. Every morning. And I have adopted the philosophy of being radically open-minded now. Because I missed it. It cost me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know how much it's cost me. But so I totally understand your position, right? In fact, if you decide to consume this anytime in the next 3 years, you'll be ahead of me. They could say, well, why did you finally consume the information or something like that? And I said, I'll tell you exactly what caused me to consume it. I was so busy being transactional, having so little time, doing so much through the day, I didn't have time to consume it. But what caused me to consume it was COVID hit. And we were in the height of a lockdown. This is a true story. Height of a lockdown. This is when you were not allowed to go outside your house unless you were going grocery shopping. That crazy shit, right? And what actually happened was, I'll tell you the exact truth. This is not to be repeated. The actual truth is what happened was my broker owner knew I was a pilot, knew that I had my own plane. He had a yacht down in the Bahamas. He knew we were all locked down. He said, you and your wife fly down, spend a month with me on the yacht. We packed up, we flew down, we stayed with him for a month on his yacht down in Bahamas. Here's when it sunk in. He, regardless of COVID or not, he had to work twice as much because he was managing COVID in his company. He worked for an hour a day and then had the rest of the day off. In fact, the fact that he had a yacht and was down in Bahamas, I was sworn to secrecy because it was politically unacceptable for him to not be around. He pretended to be around managing the company, and he worked an hour a day. But what I realized was, it wasn't until I stopped working that my head came up out of being transactional. And I looked around, and when I saw this guy, he had a saleable asset, he had money coming in, and he was working an hour a day. And I'm sitting on his yacht, looking at him going, and I haven't got a jealous bone in my body. I was literally went, how stupid am I? I have no saleable asset. I don't own anything. I'm trading time for money. I'm working my ass off 7 days a week. Because now all of a sudden, he's sitting on his yacht for a month. Sure, I had an airplane and I had my own yacht, but I didn't have time to use it. So I may as well not even have it. The little I used it, it wasn't even worth it. So suddenly time, I started recognizing I own nothing, and time started becoming valuable. And I am proud of myself with this. I reached into my head, I pulled out a conversation that was 3 years old. Nobody called me, nobody reminded me. I never got a follow-up message. I dusted it off, and went, what was that guy talking about? And sitting on his yacht with my earplugs in, I started querying eXp Realty, and I started watching videos, and I started consuming the information, and I started going, oh my God, if half of this is true, I made the biggest financial mistake of my life. So my wife actually, I was so taken by the information I was consuming, my wife thought I was having an affair because I would sneak out of bed at 3 or 4 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. And I would go start consuming more real estate videos. You know who I was watching? You know who kept popping up? Jay. And interviews he was doing with eXp agents. And I started consuming the videos. I couldn't talk to anybody because I was with them during the day. But I flew home. First meeting I booked was with Jay. And I was hook, line, and sinker. Because I realized I didn't own anything. I was trading time for money. This is how you build passive income. This is how you build ownership. And not only that, I was paying my brokerage just in transactions. This was a low-fee brokerage, the lowest cost brokerage on the planet. I was paying $60,000 a year just in transaction fees, and even more for other fees. eXp, being an icon, I got my cap back. I didn't pay; they paid me. So all of a sudden, I started making stock and revenue share, and now this is the difference in my financial situation. It's not how much money I made with eXp, it's how much money did I make with eXp and how much money did I not make with the other company. And now this difference was the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that I knew I was out because I never listened at the beginning. So how do I put that in a statement easy when somebody says, I said, I understand. I didn't listen either for 3 years. It ended up being my largest financial mistake in my real estate career, but I totally get it. Somebody tried to tell me and I didn't listen either. And I don't move. But when I finally did consume the information, and the only thing that caused me to consume it was COVID, I moved for the first time in 30 years. But you have to be open-minded. I was closed-minded. And now I adopted the position of being radically open-minded.